All right. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, or good day, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you are located. Hi, and big welcome to today's session. I see on the pin here that we have a quite global audience, so I guess the time is a bit different depending on where you are located, for sure. I love to see it. And yeah, again, welcome to today's webinar with Mentimeter. Before we start, I just want to say something about this pin or this image I see here. We have a good spread. So we have Europe is highly represented in the audience. I see also South America, this mystery island here. I'm not sure which one it is. Then we have North America too. Okay, very cool. Nice. Thank you. By the way, this slide type is called pin on image. It's a slide where you can upload an image of any kind, and then your audience can set a pin on the image. So it's a slide where you can be very, very creative. So I can highly recommend to try it out if you haven't already. Cool. Thank you for sharing. All right. But again, big welcome to today's webinar with Mentimeter. Woohoo! Today we're going to talk about change management, and more specifically, how you can use Mentimeter to master change management. Quite a bold statement, I guess, right? And now you see the QR code here is actually in the way. And now it's a pretty new feature that you can now move the QR code if you need to. So I can now go here, press right, and now we have it on the right-hand side. How cool is that? No more angry frustrations about the QR code being in the way, right? And if you haven't already, please join the presentation. You do so by either scanning the QR code, or you can click the link in the chat that has been sent there, or you can go to menti.com and enter the code that you see. Very nice. And to quick recap on the different ways you're able to interact. Maybe this is the first time you are using Mentimeter. So every now and then you will be asked questions by me. You'll be asked to give input or feedback on some of the slides. You will see when that happens. Very clear. Then you can also send reactions. Those are the heart and the thumbs up and the cats that you see there. Or you can also use the live storm chat. The live storm chat is today moderated by my colleague Polly. Polly, you want to say hi to the camera?
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, this is Polly. She will take care of you in the chat, and you'll be in very safe hands. She has very deep knowledge about Mentimeter. And then we also have Eric, my colleague, who will be moderating the Q&A for you. So we are full set here. Plus Tina also, but I don't want to spoil the introduction. It's going to come very soon. But then you also have the Q&A in Mentimeter, and you access the Q&A in Mentimeter by clicking the Open Q&A button. If you click there, you are able to ask a question, and it's going to be anonymous. So the questions in Mentimeter are anonymous as opposed to the live storm chat. And what's really good about Mentimeter's Q&A, not only is it anonymous, but you can also see the questions that have been asked by other people, and you can like the question. And when you like a question, it will be upvoted. So you can actually yourself prioritize the questions in Mentimeter's Q&A. Very, very cool. All right, now you know the different ways you're able to interact. So I think we should get started here. And my name is Fabian, and I will be your host for today. And I work in the customer success department at Mentimeter. So my role is about managing our customers, making sure they get much value from our tool. And I'm located in a snowy, dark, and cold Stockholm. So I hope you feel a bit sorry about for my sake now. But I'm also used to it. I'm highly Swedish. So. But then the guest of honor today is Tina Kuo. So welcome, Tina. Maybe you want to say a few words.
Yeah, I live in the opposite. We have like 300 days of sunshine in Colorado, and I moved to the mountains of Colorado. So we're very opposite. My day job is that I'm a supply chain and change management senior manager at Accenture. So like many of those that transitioned your ways of working during the pandemic, I used to be one of those Monday through Thursday travel consultants racking up the miles. And we had to naturally change that. So I love that I'm here today with you because I used Menti for quite a while, and I hopped on one of your trainings. And that's when I found out about all these new functionalities. I was like, what am I doing? I haven't been using these cool things. And I'm just a fan. So yeah, not paid for it. I just like meeting new people, and I hope other people also start enjoying presenting. And I think Menti is a great tool to help you do that. So glad to be here.
Oh, that was a very powerful introduction. I'm glad that we are recording this session so I can rewatch that. Actually, it was amazing to hear.
On a bad day, you can watch it.
For sure. Thank you, Tina, so much for being here. And we will definitely get back to you a bit later on, and you will get much more attention in this session. But thank you. All right. Well, let's move on. The agenda for today is this. So first on why Mentimeter for change management. What are the benefits of using Mentimeter specifically for change management? Then we're going to look into the how. So look into practical and real life use cases and examples of how Mentimeter can be utilized and leveraged for change management. And then Tina, the guest of honor, will be talking about her experience with both Mentimeter and change management. So you hear change management is a commonly used term right now. And then we're going to wrap it up with the live Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout this session at any time, please use the open Q&A in Mentimeter and ask it there. Nice. I hope it sounds like a good agenda to everyone. And before we start, I always like to take the temp of the audience in terms of how much they know about Mentimeter. So please rate here how much you have used Mentimeter so far. This is also a good use case if you have a training, for example, to just assess what is the current knowledge level within the audience. So you know what kind of pace you should set. I mean, if all of you said that you are pros, I shouldn't probably talk too much about what Mentimeter is, more on maybe the benefits. And if all of you were like completely new to Mentimeter, I should probably start with the basics, right? All right, let's see what we have here. Okay, so most of you have presented a few times, actually. So you are quite active with Menti. And also many of you have used it often. Nice. We have like power users here. Very nice. Also some champs. We have those who only vote and never presented. And a few who has their first Menti experience. Wow. I remember my first Menti experience. It was a great day. Tina, how would you rate yourself on this question?
Probably like the cat. I just appealed to the meme more. Often or all the time, you know.
I love it. Very good. But nice. Thank you all for sharing this. But let's jump into the first section, which is why you should use Mentimeter for change management. And I would like to kick that off by asking you, actually, what challenges are you facing when it comes to change management? I can think of many. I'm, in charge of implementing Mentimeter across my customers' organization. So I'm facing some of the challenges, but I really love to hear what you say here. So let me know. Okay, and for those who don't know, this slide type is called word cloud. It works in a way that the larger the words are, the more input they have got. So the word cloud is not only visually appealing, like as you can see, it's like moving, it's very nice, but it's also a good way to understand quickly what the majority of your audience have said about or have answered to your question. I will see resistance is a very frequently used word. Yeah, for sure. I hear you there. Resistance. Many people resist why we should use Mentimeter, right? I guess maybe Tina, you have faced some resistance too.
I wonder if it's resistance from people actually just voting and using it. Because I remember when QR codes became a thing and I had to teach my parents how to use it. So one, or is it resistance to actually creating the Menti? Because hopefully what you learned today is that it takes a couple minutes.
Right. Yeah. I agree. Fully agree. But nice. I see a lot of challenges here. Resistance, communication, mindset, fatigue, change fatigue, engagement. A lot has to do with emotions, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, you're handling people. We are emotional creatures. So it's a lot about that. And I'm very happy to see all of this. Thank you for sharing. It seems that there are many challenges out there. And I wanted to use this kind of to set the tone for what we're going to talk about, which are challenges in change management and how Menti can help you overcome them. So thank you a lot for sharing this. Okay. And if we look at what research says about challenges with change management, then according to one of Gartner's yearly surveys, change management has been one of the top 5 business priorities for 3 years in a row now. That's quite crazy. It shows how increasingly important it is within organizations. I think it makes sense. I think we can all agree that the pace in the business world keeps increasing. New technology, AI, geopolitical factors, etc. And as we often say in Mentimeter ourselves, change is the only constant. And the top 3 challenges that was mentioned in the most recent Gartner study were the ones that you see here. So First of all, employees or leaders, they do not feel equipped to lead change. Among other things, this is due to a lack of unified approaches, processes, and tools. So meaning there are really no clear guidelines or protocols for how to drive change, and everyone manage change differently. So of course, that can make people feel unequipped to lead change. And secondly, the way change is communicated fails to engage employees. With one-way communication only, not really including the participants. And I think we can all maybe agree that we have been in an all-hands meeting or town hall where a major change have been communicated. And there were
every day.
Yeah, exactly, every day, right?
That's why I have a job, I think.
Right? Exactly. All of those changes just comes like all of a sudden, and you're just like, okay, this is how it is. No room for questions, no room for feedback, prior to change or after. So I think there are some room for improvement there, definitely. And then last but not least here, change success is not measured effectively. I think if you don't know what success looks like, it's hard to know if you are successful. And only measuring change success once, like some people do, will not give you really the full picture. So here what we believe is that you need to define what metrics you should track, how you should track them, when you should track them, how many times you should track them, and even with whom you should track them. So all of this is essential in order to drive more effective change management. And on a high level, how Mentimeter can help overcome this. This is the theory. I'm going to show you the practice soon. But first of all, Mentimeter can help you understand and measure change sentiment throughout the entire change process. So you can use Mentimeter to collect data from participants before the change, during the change, and after the change. So change impact, readiness, adoption are all metrics that we can support. And then secondly, is that Mentimeter also fosters an engaging and inclusive change process. So in Mentimeter, everyone shares their opinion in an equal way, you see, regardless of which country you are from right now, what your position is, what your seniority is, what your personality type is. You join the Menti in the same way, and you share and interact in the same way, in equal way. And anonymity in Mentimeter is also one of the key factors here, because when people know it's anonymous, they feel more safe to express their voice, which leads to a higher psychological safety, which in turn leads to higher quality of data. And then thirdly, Mentimeter as a product, how it works, it naturally integrates with established change management frameworks. And since most of the recognized frameworks out there require a two-way communication where many questions have to be asked, it is easy to apply a tool like Mentimeter with frameworks such as ADKAR, which I know it can be used in or is being used in Accenture quite a lot, based on what you have said, Tina, and also the Kubler-Ross change curve. Nice. Just to show you an example of this, here is one example how we integrated Mentimeter together with ADKAR with another customer of ours, and maybe recap on what ADKAR is. So ADKAR focuses on individual transitions during organizational change. So it involves 5 stages. So awareness for the need for change, desire to participate in change, knowledge on how to change, ability to implement new skills or behaviors, and reinforcement to sustain the change over time. And here you can see how our customer in this case used Mentimeter to actually support each of these stages here, actually, by collecting meaningful data from their participants. So just one example. I know, Tina, you seem to be also a bit familiar with ADKAR.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to tell your individuals that you're taking them through a methodology or a path, but this is a great framework for those that are in the change practice. And getting feedback at each of these stages helps us adjust how we're messaging, what we're messaging, and then more importantly, to tell their leaders how well they're doing. So I very much like it.
Oh, nice. Here. Very good. And this is just one example of many how you could apply Mentimeter with recognized change frameworks. Nice. And we had a few new first timers for Mentimeter. So really quick recap on what Mentimeter is. Now you're hearing a lot about it, but you don't maybe know even what it is. So we put it very easily. Mentimeter is an interactive presentation platform. So just like you are using a tool like PowerPoint to create decks, you do the same in Mentimeter. The big difference is that your audience are able to interact in a lot of different ways. And everything in Mentimeter is by default anonymous. And you can use Mentimeter really for all type of meetings, webinars like this, or a workshop, or a team meeting, a town hall, or even a survey. So that is very quickly what Mentimeter is. And if you look at the impact of Mentimeter and why you should use it, you can see here we have some really cool and interesting metrics, both from customers, but also from research. So on the right-hand side, you see 2 case studies from customers. So first, Siemens Healthineers. When we ask their users, they say that when they use Mentimeter, they see a significant increase in engagement and information retention, so learning, in large audience sessions. And NHS, they doubled feedback rate and increased even participant satisfaction rate by 6%. So it's very impressive. And we see the same when we look at research too. When we did an independent study and compared 2 different presentations, one highly interactive Menti and one that was no interaction at all, the highly interactive presentation, the audience there showed almost 10% higher learning rate, 13% higher engagement rate, and 15% higher attention rate. So why I'm telling you this is not only does it, are these metrics quite powerful, but especially for change management, I think it really speaks on the benefit, because you need your employees to be engaged about the change. You need them to learn about the change. You need them to give you feedback about the change, and ultimately to be satisfied about the change. So I really think that this speaks on the benefit of using Mentimeter from a change management perspective. Now I have talked a lot on the theory and on the why, so I thank you for your patience. But now we're going to move into the how. So we're going to look at some actual real-life use cases and examples of how you can leverage Mentimeter. And to make it as relevant as possible, I would like you now to imagine that your organization is about to undergo the change of implementing Mentimeter. And if it has already been implemented in your organization, you can just imagine that it's going to be implemented at a wider scale. And now I will show you some examples of how I, as the implementation manager, could use Mentimeter to be more successful with the implementation. So be ready to interact now. First use case is how you can use Mentimeter to measure change readiness and track progress over time. Exciting, right? Okay, so here is a scales question. And now, please, with your honest opinion, rate here from a scale from 0 to 10 what you think about these statements. Do you understand why you should use Mentimeter in your meetings? Do you believe that Mentimeter will help improve your meetings? Do you feel confident in your ability to use Mentimeter in your meetings? And do you look forward to using Mentimeter in your meetings? Okay, interesting.
I love this feature.
Yeah?
There's also sometimes I also do the option of not sharing to not fall into groupthink. I like both of them. But yeah.
Exactly. Very good. I love it. So to avoid bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you do it on the fly, on the spot, or do you usually pre-hide the responses?
I'll either pre-hide the response if we know it's a touchy subject, or we want to get very good feedback without any bias. Or sometimes we're doing Menti in the background and not even using it as the presentation. It's more just alongside it.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Yeah, but it's very good. And thank you for that reminder. So you can actually do it on the fly. You can pre-hide the responses to avoid bias, or press H, keyboard letter shortcut. So you can actually hide or show on the fly also, in case you forgot to hide. Well, nice. Okay, we see some results. When you hover, you also see what all the individual votes are saying, but then what the average is for each of the statements. And we can see that I look forward to using Mentimeter in my meetings scored pretty high. We have 8.0. Yeah, that's nice. You have positive sentiment about using Mentimeter in your meetings. And quite high when it comes to understanding why you should use Mentimeter, and also that Mentimeter will improve your meetings. So it's a positive change sentiment. I love it. But then your confidence level didn't score as high. So for me as the implementation manager, I say, okay, nice. Maybe I don't have to push why you should use Mentimeter or the benefits. I should prioritize having trainings for you or creating learning material. It's a very easy way to actually find or to actually determine what you as an implementation manager for a change should focus on. Very cool. Is this aligned with what you would say, Tina? I mean, how would you rate yourself here also? I mean, I know that you are a fan of Menti, but
yeah. Well, what's funny is I just learned that you could touch the H, so I don't think I feel very confident. But I feel like every time I talk to you, I learn a different feature. So we just need to be best friends.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very happy to be that. And also another hidden feature we have it's something called trends. I mean, how cool wouldn't it be if you were able to reuse the same question in multiple sessions and see a trend graphs of how these statements have been answered over a period of time? Well, we can actually do that in Mentimeter. So I have done this before this session. I just did some pre-votes, but on this scales question and on multiple choice questions, you can activate something called trends. You do it by hovering the mouse to the left, then you see this option bar popping up. And it's going to be different for some of the slides. They all have different settings. But then here, show trends is what you can activate on scales questions. And it looks like this. Wow. So what do we see here? We see that we have 3 sessions, 1, 2, and the current. And then you can see that the first statement, I understand why I should use Mentimeter in my meetings, scored 2 in the first session. In the second session, it scored 3, so slight improvement. And then it was a major improvement for today's session. Now we scored almost 8. So a very positive trend here. Whereas maybe here, I look forward to using Mentimeter, scored 3, then it scored 7, and now it scored 8 also. So also a positive trend. It's very nice to see. So
this is amazing.
Yeah, right?
I've always done it at the report, like at the end. Again, just did not know I could do it on the fly.
Exactly. And you can also do it, of course, in the report, but on the fly too. So if you want to pull out this report, maybe you having the same kind of group and you're asking them the same question in multiple sessions over time, then you can see, okay, actually, you see, now this is how you thought about this over the past 6 months. So it's a very cool feature. And you can use it's called trends, and you can activate it for multiple choice questions and for this scale question. Cool. So that was the first use case. Second use case is that you can understand change sentiment across different participant segments. What do I mean by that? So it's another bit of a hidden feature we have when it comes to our multiple choice questions in Mentimeter. And I'm going to show that by demoing the feature for you, or explain it by showing it. So first, you have to segment your audience into different segments. So now I'm asking you, in which department do you work? Is it HR, marketing comms, sales, IT, product, finance, legal, or other? And I know there are probably many departments I missed out here. I know we have so many of them. I wanted to keep it quite easy. So sorry if your department is not represented here. It wasn't my intention. It's just to make the visual appealing, or the visuals to look better. Okay, so now we have quite a good spread. I mean, most of you are not in any of the other departments, but we have spread from all departments here. Also proves that Mentimeter is quite versatile. It doesn't matter which department you are in, right? You can still get interested in Mentimeter or get value from Mentimeter. So pretty cool. All right, so now I have segmented you into different segments here. So now I'm going to ask another question. Thinking about using Mentimeter in my meetings, do you feel excited? Do you feel open? Do you feel neutral? Do you feel nervous, or do you feel terrified? And this is also a real-life example from another customer who are using a multiple choice question where they want to track or understand and measure the change sentiment. So they ask their actual audience how they're feeling. Are they feeling positive or negative about the change? Okay, so most of you feel excited and also open. Very nice to see. But also some feeling a bit nervous and some feeling a little bit neutral here also. Okay, cool. Now we have created this segmentation. So what I can do is that I can hover again to the left now. And then I see they have this show segmentation here. You can pre-segment also, or you can do it on the fly. But now I do it on the fly because it's a bit more impressive to do it on the fly, actually. So you go to show segmentation, click here, and now you will see the other multiple choice questions that you can segment this question with. So I'm going to segment it with the previous question. In which department do you work? And wow, look at this. What do we have? Now we can see that those who answered HR on the previous question, they become green. Those who answered marketing comms becomes yellow. Those who answered sales becomes red, etc., etc. So this is amazing because for me as an implementation manager, I now know which departments that are mostly positive towards Mentimeter and those that are more not as positive. I don't want to say negative, but not as positive. So I know.
I used to do this manually from the export, so this is so much nicer, much faster.
Right. I know that you maybe have some examples too, Tina, also, because I think it's good to understand you can do it on the fly, but also in the reporting. So I think that's very good.
Yeah. Again, I've used a lot of these things offline afterwards to more analyze what types of responses are from which group of folks. But I love that you could see it right away. wanted to pause because we also had some good questions about trends that I think maybe could we talk about those? The trends feature?
Yeah, sure.
Only because
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to know because I saw a few of the same questions
Mhm.
come up, whether or not you have to reset the slides or like, do you have to stay in the same presentation? How does that work?
Yeah, very good question. So thank you for raising it. So how it works is that you have to reuse the same presentation in Mentimeter, and then you have to reset the results. You can do that in different ways, and you will get help articles along with this whole presentation also shared with you afterwards, so you can also understand there. But you have to reset the results. You can do that in different ways. It says very clearly on the presentation, like reset results. When you do that, you are not removing them or deleting them. You are creating a new session within the same presentation. So presentation in Mentimeter can have multiple sessions. And then you can reuse the same to see each session also how each of the slides have been responding. And for the scales question and multiple choice question, you can actually activate this trend graph also. Was that clear, Tina?
Cool. Yes, I think so.
Perfect. Nice. Thank you. All right. That was second use case. Now the third one is one of my favorite ones. It is how you can use Mentimeter to use the collective intelligence of the room to understand how to overcome change resistance on the fly. What do I mean by that? Let's have a look at it. So now I would like us all to brainstorm. So now, with your honest opinions again, what potential challenges or barriers might prevent a wider adoption of Mentimeter in your organization? Let's say that I come to you and say, okay, I want to implement Mentimeter in your organization right now. I want every employee to use it. What might be a barrier here? And now I want us all to brainstorm. So please share your opinion here. And then we're gonna together vote on the input also. But more on that soon. Wow, okay. Older population, money, fear of using, security challenges, not tech savvy. Okay, wow, okay. I see many responses. License fee, data security, legal, all right. And I see more and more answers here. You can see at the bottom right corner, you have this. You see this number. You can see how many responses you have got actually.
Wow.
Wow, okay. And what if I was now able to actually like group this? I mean, it's very hard for me to like go through all of them and understand what are the themes here. Are there any clusters or anything? Well, what if I could actually cluster them into like 5 or 6 or 7 groups instead of 156 answers? Well, we can actually do that in Mentimeter now. So we have these AI features enabled. So powered by AI, you can now, on open-ended questions, detect which answers that are similar, and thereby create groups. So you can do this here in the bottom left corner. You have this. And then you can see you have some options for this. And AI features might not be available in your specific organization, just so you know. But here you can actually just do different kind of AI capabilities with the questions. But I want to group them now. So I press groups. Oh, okay. I don't have it accessible now for mine. Let's see if I can change that.
While you're doing that,
Yes.
for those that are familiar with design thinking and when you would have workshops, when you put Post-its up all together, and then it takes another like 45 minutes for people to group them into categories. I mean, this is the power of technology. I love that it does that so quickly.
Yes, it's amazing. Thank you for filling that. So now it should be possible. Let's see if we can group them now. Right. Sorting the circles from squares. Now AI is working here. And voila, now we have 8 groups. So you can see instead of seeing 176 responses, we see 8 groups. And AI, as you know, it's very good, but not perfect. So there might be some typos and so on. I mean, it does the job like 90%, but maybe not everything. But now we see lack of knowledge, cost, time, alternative tools, fear, licenses. And if you click also here, you can see each of the responses in each of the group also. Very cool. Now we can see these clusters. So now I would like us all to also vote here, because now I want us all to vote on what you think are the most important here. So I will now press enter to start voting, and that means that you will get 2 votes each. I think I gave you that. So now please vote. You can go to each of the group and vote on one of them there. then we're going to see which group that got the most votes. So I, as the implementation manager, know what I should prioritize. Have you used the voting, Tina?
I have not actually used the voting.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I'll need to try.
Yes.
Again, I do all of this like back in analog with Post-its and people putting colors and whatnot. So yeah, I love that.
But that also has value, right? But it's just different use cases. Sometimes you want to use a tool like Menti, sometimes you want to use the Post-its, So it's not about more about like using whatever is the best suitable for the given situation.
Okay. I know a lot of people are voting, but we also had a question of where is the voting button?
Yeah, so the voting button. So you pre-segment it when you you preset it on the slide beforehand. You can decide, but you can also when you have it enabled, you will either get this pop up. It says press enter to start voting. Whenever you have responses, so it's going to be very clear. You can also go into the bottom left button and click here and say vote to activate.
Okay.
And now we have 165 votes. I will be fine with that and see what we have. Okay. Lack of knowledge has 101 votes. Okay. You see? Very cool. Just using one slide in Mentimeter, you can do a full brainstorming session, collect input, and then to get a vote on input. Very, very impressive. And I can see exactly within the groups which votes they got the most, or which answers they got the most votes. So very nice. So now we get to see three use cases of how you can use Mentimeter more practically for change management. And there are many, many out there. But now you got to see three different ones. And without no further ado, Tina, I would like to hand it over to you. Finally.
Awesome. And I'm going to try and monitor the chat at the same time. So you just let me know. I'll save definitely minutes for us to go through Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned before, I'm a supply chain and change management consultant. Been doing that for almost a decade. So in short, and how I say that to my family is I just help companies plan their goods to get to the customers when and where they want it. Now, all of that sounds handy dandy and theoretically great, but a lot of the tactical ways of how to do that is that we implement technological advances and different types of implementations of those. So a company typically spends millions of dollars to get a system, and their company leaders are like, yep, if we buy it, they will use it. And I think we've all known, for those on the call, change is hard. And especially if it's super abrupt and you're not taking them on the journey, it's even harder. This is, again, why change management consultants have jobs. So a large portion of my role is to have to get buy-on and adoption. So I have three different aspects of my job. When I'm presenting, I want to make sure that the information is relevant, that I'm actually attending to the needs and the questions that my audience wants. As an audience, I want to be heard. So I think this is a great way to get both the feedback and in real time. And then the third, and more importantly, how I get paid for work, is that a client wants to know what they're paying for and if it's actually working. So I think, Circo, you might have taken my quote of what you can't manage, what you can't measure. That's exactly true. And it's great to see the progression of how change is working. It proves that you're doing your job well. It's a good thing to look at on a rainy, gloomy day, or any day in Stockholm, apparently, or just to make sure that, here's my KPIs of what I've been doing for the last few weeks. And sometimes, actually, most oftenly, and I'm going to use this trend feature now, I'd like to be able to use it back to showcase, like when we launch a product or a new enhancement to a new group, and you've already got a group that went through it. It's nice to see that maybe they went on the same reluctant change curve, but know where they end up. So it's nice to know when you're not alone, and that also gives you a good point of reference as well. The other thing I'd say is that one thing I'd love to do, and not a part of my day job per se. I'm a extracurricular job is that I'm an executive advisor for a financial literacy community of practice within Accenture. And my goal and our goal as a team is to increase the financial acumen of colleagues. So we're tackling two things here. One, it's a taboo topic. Nobody, we've realized we need to talk about it, but how do you do it and how do you make sure that people feel comfortable about it? Being anonymous on Menti has been wonderful. And then that's the teaching part, but we also want to grow our own community. So when I started, I was one of the single digit members, and now we're over 100 volunteers. And part of the reason we're able to do that, and we're nationwide, we have attendees from all over the world, is because we have tools like this to get their understanding of like engagement, feeling engaged. We do the quizzes. I think we might be doing one later. We do the polling. I just absolutely love it. And I think it's been working for both fun work client and, just pure curiosity, I guess, of data, which we all know is quite important now. If you go to the next slide, I only have a couple.
Yeah,
this is a simple one.
Oh.
So, and I think this number is probably changing, but 8.25 seconds is how long an average adult attention span is. So we've probably lost you many times along the way already. I know I have quite a erratic mind. So it's no wonder that in 8.25 seconds, you probably won't remember half the things we say. And that's totally okay. But Maya Angelou used to say, it's not about what you say, it's about how you make them feel. And so this is, again, the three aspects of who we're interacting when we're doing this presentation. It's me and Fabienne as the presenters, you as the audience, but also the client. Like, Fabienne, I bet Mentimeter is going to want to know how well you did and what these results are. So as a person, I feel like Mentimeter, hopefully as the audience, you feel like you're getting heard, not just because of the chat, but because we're adapting based on what the audience feedback is in their Mentimeters. From our presenter point of view, I feel great if I know the audience actually got what we intended to give. So I'm seeing a lot of accolades and fun things, and I'm happy about that. But we also want to know if someone's not catching on and has other hesitation. So I'm sure that'll come up in Q&A. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, like we mentioned, data. So from a client or from Mentimeter's perspective, they want to know that they got their results. Do you need that hard data to get that proof? So I think it's a great way to holistically approach that together. I'll pause there, but I can also tell you why we use it and what we've used it for, if you want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all curious to hear that. But what I say, I love the comment that people might not remember what you say, but how you made them feel. I think it's all about that. Once again, going back to the fact that we are emotional creatures, right?
Yeah.
We respond to that. So very, well put.
Also, I get so bored.
Yeah.
so I mean, how many PowerPoints are we seeing a day? I don't know. It varies in your job, but it's just a nice, fresh view of it. So I'll continue on a little bit then. So why we use it for work. One, we've talked a little bit about the transition of the work environment. And now that we're in a hybrid environment, it might be fully remote, you might be traveling and also working at the same time. I feel like this is a very simple way to keep engagement high in this type of environment. The other thing is, back in the day, we'd all be in a room together, and I'd probably say we always had the same 15% of people talking. Mm-hmm. And that's probably because you're an extrovert, probably because you have a lot of siblings and you have to fight for your voice. But in this way, it allows different varieties of people and different styles and different comfort levels of how you feel in this group to be heard. And it's not just me that's always talking in a room. So I bet my team is happy about that. And then the other things I'd say is because it's real time, and I'll showcase the example we use, I can get feedback right away. Like knowing that impact is just super helpful as and to help me as a presenter to know if I need to adjust to what I've been presenting. And we've already kind of talked about the groupthink piece. So having it visually available so it encourages other people, and seeing that hundreds of people have already like answered a question definitely helps with peer pressure in getting everyone else on board. So I'll call it out. There's X amount of people on this call, and I only have this many responses. So I'm going to wait until this number goes up. That way we can make sure everyone's actually participating.
Exactly. You can really play around with the data. You can either like hide it to avoid bias, or you can show it to actually spark a discussion, right? So you can like really play around with the data that is being visualized.
I don't know if we're going to talk about how it's there's like a new functionality or piece that they're working on with embedding into PowerPoint, because I always had this question of how you go back between, and I found a great way around it. So I'm happy to share how that is while it's developing, but it's feasible now to put in your slides into Mentimeter. So you could just stay in one presentation, which makes life a lot easier. I also corporately share it. So I might have creations and then I share it with my team, and I get better ideas about how to adjust Mentimeter because they're having fun on their own time, and different designs and ideas come out. But what was I going to say? Oh, the way I do it, the old school way, because apparently everything I do is much more old school until I meet you, is I just have the PowerPoint kind of slide up. So if you don't want to import it in, that's okay. We have the PowerPoint slides. You're in presentation. Works best when you have a second screen. And then I'll do the Alt tab. And then I already have the Mentimeter up, so you can just switch back and forth very fluidly, and it looks like it's part of your presentation anyways. So if you didn't want to do the import, this is another option.
Absolutely. So I think quick also recap that those are maybe new, but it depends on the organizational, what they have approved or not. But 3 ways to use Menti. You can do everything in Mentimeter. You can switch between or 4 ways actually. You can switch between Mentimeter and PowerPoint. You can import the PowerPoint into Mentimeter, or you can use the PowerPoint integration we have, where you actually add Mentimeter slides directly in PowerPoint. So thank you for also highlighting that, Tina. And I just want to I know you had a few examples. I want to make sure that we have time for the Q&A also. But
let's go to Q&A. Yeah, you've already showed the cool tools. So
but your examples were really nice also. Shouldn't I? Yeah.
If you want me to, I guess this is just an example at the beginning. So we do pre and post. And one of the financial literacy topics is an employee share purchase plan. So I just want to gauge exactly where people are. And then if you go to the next slide, I do a post, and I immediately see that I've gotten mostly everyone out of the bucket of not knowing what they want to do. And that was really my goal.
Wow. I love that. Pre and post, right? It's all about that. So you actually quantify the effect or the impact of whatever you are doing. And a tool like Mentimeter is a really effective way to do that. Ask the audience before, ask the audience after, and see what the difference is. The difference is probably the value you have been able to add. Very cool. Thank you, Tina. Wow. Now I feel very inspired also to use Mentimeter even more for my change management practice. So thanks a lot for sharing this rich detail about it. Cool. And now just here, you will get this deck shared with you along with the recording and along with some help articles and video tutorials. But here you also see some, if you want to learn more, go deeper into the rabbit hole of Mentimeter, then here are 5 different ways you can do that. You can create your own account, you can go to the YouTube page, go to a help center, our webinars, upcoming ones, and also some templates. Very cool. And with that being said, I just want to also thank you. I want to thank you so much, not only you, Tina, but also the great audience. I think you have been highly engaged during this session. And I host trainings like this a lot. And sometimes the audience, they are very engaged, and sometimes they are not. But when they are engaged, it makes my job feel much more meaningful. So I sincerely want to thank you for being a very great and engaged audience. I truly appreciate that. And Tina, thank you for also being here.
I love it.
I sincerely thank you. And we are now heading into feedback, some Q&A. So if you have the time to stick around, we can do that. So just here, open any question in case you need or you want to share some feedback on what you thought about this webinar. Please share it here. Maybe what we did cover, what you liked, or what you want to see more of, or anything. You can just share it here while we take some questions in Mentimeter's Q&A. Very cool. All right. So I'm a long-time user of Menti, stuck in my old comfort zone. Can I highlight some new features? Yeah, very.
I think you did that.
Yes, I think we have. There are many of them. I will share a link where you can actually see exactly all the product updates that comes on a monthly basis with Mentimeter. But some of the most obvious ones are the features are like the AI features. You can also move around the QR code. You can have the new text slide we have in Mentimeter. It's instead of having this preset text slides, you can now have a text slide where you add everything onto that. But we have a lot of new features. So I will definitely share more information on how you can find them here. Cool. I love the eagerness to learn. I see we're using Livestorm for this event. Can we also use this with MS Teams? Yeah, Tina, can we?
You can use it with anything. Zoom, MS Teams, I mean, anything.
Exactly. So it's like a tool that you share your screen with. So with Zoom, Google Meet, Teams, Livestorm, whatever tool that can allow you to share a screen, you can use for Mentimeter. That's a valid question. Yeah, good. So I think we also touched on this, right? So we did import into Mentimeter, the AutoCAD slide, for example. So you can import external parts into Mentimeter too, to make it a bit more seamless when you present. Anything you want to add here, Tina?
No, I think that's true.
How have you managed to incorporate AI into Menti? Yeah. So since I work at Menti employed, we are approved, or we have the approval to use a third-party tool for this that is required for the Gen AI features that we have in Mentimeter. And this is really up to your organization. If you belong to any of the customers that I am having, just trust me that me and Eric are working as hard as we can to make it available within your organization. I promise you that. But I understand there's a high demand for the AI features. They are really, really good. They really add a lot of value. So I understand that there is a high demand for it. Okay. Can we get the AdCar overview download? Yeah, absolutely.
You can, but you can also just Google it.
Absolutely.
Just to save you some time.
Exactly. It's very good. Let's say maybe take 1 or 2 more questions. I know that maybe you, Tina, also have to leave and so on. How do we get the AI tools? It has to be approved by the organization. So your admin within the organization, you have to check with them. Here, are there different levels of interactivity dependent on license type? So yes, there are some. We have some different kind of plan types. We have a free version of Menti. We have some basic, we have a pro, and I have an enterprise. And there are some features that are different there. This is also something that we can share afterwards, so you get to understand. Cool. Let's see if we have a question for you, Tina. I want to wrap it up with you. Can I create a Menti and get others to present? Oh.
I think we talked about that because there you could share your presentations.
So is this something that, are you doing this also? Like, are you collaborating on Mentis with your colleagues?
Yeah, not just because I want someone else to conduct it, but really so we could get other ideas on how best to create the Menti in general. So both in the creation and the delivery.
Perfect. Oh, good. And collaboration features are also something that are good. Well, here, we have a question for you, Tina. What is your best advice for getting started with Mentimeter /newbie?
Well, I think you're already here, so that's a good sign. Join one of your Fabian's calls, because that helped me a great deal. And time yourself. It takes 5 minutes to just play around and create a Menti, not even a minute. I think if on the fly, I was on a call once and I was like, we should gauge something, and immediately whipped up a Mentimeter. So the more often you do it, the faster it'll be, but it's very intuitive.
Thank you. Yeah, I think so too. It's a good step. It's a change management to yourself, right? Start easy, understand why you should use it, try it out, and start small. Don't like overdo it. Don't start using all the slides, all the features in one presentation. Maybe
Yeah.
just start using one word cloud in the beginning, one icebreaker, and then nothing else. And then see the reactions, and then maybe add 2 more slides or what, 3 more, and so on. So like gradually.
And I'm only going to add this is just think of what you want to get out of it. So every time I want to understand something, which is why I'm proposing it, or if it's to add engagement, you could do that. But maybe having that purpose in mind helps you direct which type of slide to use, how many to use, and when to actually use it.
I love that. Intentional. Be intentional with your questions, because you are taking time from your audience. So make sure that they feel that their questions are relevant, and that you're also maybe taking action on what they are saying, that you actually value them. There are many best practices. And of course, today was a very high level session, full of different things, maybe overwhelming for some who are new to Mentimeter. I fully get that. It's hard to cover everything, but we have lots of resources for how to dig deeper into Mentimeter. So yeah, but with no further ado, I just want to do one last thing, and that is to actually see here. I want to see. Thank you again for sharing all this feedback here, and I want to show you one last AI feature we have. So bottom left corner, click here. We had the groups, as you know, but now we also have the summary. Similar use case, but a bit different, right? So instead of seeing groups, you get 5 bullets, I think, or a summary instead.
Oh.
Very informative, engaging, and inspiring. I can't take credit for that. That was all you, Tina, trust me. Great real-life examples. Thanks again, Tina. Interest in more integrations. Yeah, integrations. That's a hot topic. We have the new PowerPoint integration that is really good. So,
good.
Yeah, but you can read more of it. Cool new features. Wow, there we have it. AI helped us to summarize it.
Awesome.
But again, thank you everyone so much for joining. You can expect a follow-up with the slide deck and a recording to your email also. Oh, okay. Thank you, moderator. Thank you for showing this. Yes, I also love segmentation. Wow. All right. Thank you, everyone. And Tina,
awesome.
Thank you again.
Oh, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Of course. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy Mentimeter and have a great rest of your day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you're located. Take care.
Bye.
Stay safe. Bye.